Hi there, I'm Robert Inahosa. I'm the founder of Rhinodillo Designs and JustPrintmaking.com. I'm also the curator of the JustPrintmaking Instagram account, and I'm here today to do a tool review for Flexcut tools, their printmaking gouge set. You also have a chance to win your very own set today, and information on that will be at the end of the video. So stay tuned, watch it through, and I'll see you guys in a bit. So when I saw that Flexcut had joined Instagram back in, I think, December of this past year, I reached out to them, and I was very excited to see that they're building up their social media presence. If you are interested in them at all, go follow them on Instagram and social media, and check out their websites and everything. They have wonderful tools. So they sent me their full catalog for 2018. And they have like draw knives, whittling tools, carving knives, all sorts of different knives. So primarily what they do is wood carving tools. Having that background, they've honed in on what metal is best, how to sharpen it, the ergonomics of the tool. Because they're just a tool company. That's it. They just do tools, which is great to have somebody specializing in that when you're looking for a printmaking carving set. And they do make a printmaking carving set, and that is their Lino and Relief printmaking set. It's a 5-piece set for wood and the linoleum. It has 4 blades in it. Quick change handle, which is the ergonomic handle that you'll be using with each blade. There's an 11 pocket tool roll, the carrying case for it. And then what's awesome about this, there's a sharpening and carving manual, and the sharpening strop is included. And so let's open this guy up. So the first thing you see is the packaging. You have your typical packaging, but you've got your manual here. This is some artwork by I forget, Franz. Oh, it's right here. Franz Spawn, and he's an amazing artist. Right out of the case, these things are razor sharp. You can see that edge on that thing. Oh man, it's mirror. I mean, it's a mirror edge, and it is amazing. Cuts amazingly well. So we've got a U-gouge. So what comes in the set is a U-gouge, a mini V-gouge, which is amazing. I'll get to you later. A V-gouge and a smaller, more compact U-gouge. And then you have the actual handle. Okay, so this is the quick change handle. And this quick change handle works amazingly well. I mean, you just pick this thing up, and that's how that tool goes in. It just snaps in. You just bottom it out. It's no snap or anything like that. And it's ready to go, just like that. And when you're done with it, you just pull it out and go to the next one. Now, let's get to how they perform, because that, I mean, at the end of the day, it could be the best made thing in the world, but if you can't use it, it's no good, right? Now, performance will be impacted by sharpness. So we've got 2 things here. We've got the strop, and we got the polishing compound. Each one of these grooves corresponds to a tool. And so you have the U-gouge, which fits perfectly that angle, okay? Not only that, fits perfectly that angle, okay? And so every single groove in this block has a corresponding tool that it goes to within this set, okay? And so what you're gonna do whenever you sharpen these, whenever you sharpen tools, because it's a little burr that gets pulled off, you always pull your tools across. You never push. With that being said, whenever you're sharpening, you're gonna lay down this compound, and then you're gonna pull this across, okay? Pull this across until you get that mirror edge back, and that's only when you need to sharpen it. It's a wonderful set. It really is. It makes perfect sense. This all wraps up into one neat package, and we're good to go. Speaking of good to go, let's go ahead and start carving at these different materials, and I'll show you how it performs on each of these materials. So let's go. What we're gonna start off with is my favorite tool from this set in particular, which is the mini V-gouge. I love this thing. I've never had a V-gouge this small. So we're gonna start off with the mini V-gouge, and I'm gonna go ahead and start, I'm gonna go from hard to soft material here, okay? Well, let's go across the grain here. And I'm putting very light pressure. And you can see how that, it's so easy across grain. We've got very fine lines that we can get. If we dig in a little deeper, we can get a little bit bolder line. See how it goes with the grain as well. Obviously with grain is a lot easier to pull up, but you know, you also have those issues where you're kind of going with the grain, but you're switching over grain lines. And this actually does perform pretty well. I would imagine that the larger tools would do a little bit better with that, just because it's not getting in those individual cells and lines in there with the grain. So so we can take this gouge to the outline here, and you can see now I don't have my carving table set up here with a stop on it, so I'm just being very careful here. Again, that is such an easy cut to make. You can then switch this out real quick with your larger V-gouge once you get it in, and then you have an instant guide to go through, and you don't have to worry about butting up against that line too much. Let's do a cross grain here. Obviously the angle makes a difference, and how deep you're cutting makes a difference, how much material you're pushing up against, but man, it's really nice. With the grain, I just cross grain as well there. That was pretty effortless. Yeah, it's really good. I really like this. Let's move on to the U-gouges here. So you have a shallower U-gouge, or the smaller U-gouge, and that's good for kind of getting in there after you've gotten the detail work done and you just need to beef out material. Man, just that cross grain action is really nice. And right here there's a knot in the wood. That's why I'm having a little bit of difficulty here. With wood knots, there we go. But even with that wood knot, if I was using one of these other tools, I would just be completely stopped in my tracks because this is not sharp enough. This is sharp, and it stays sharp. And if it doesn't, you have a sharpening tool that is very easy to use. And then you have the wide U-gouge, which is, again, going across grain, which is usually very difficult. It's wonderful. Going with the grain, even easier. I mean, man, this is like butter, seriously. It's an amazing tool. It is. Wood is just notoriously hard to carve. It gets you a specific detail and texture to the prints that you make. I particularly like linoleum, and so that's what I choose to work with. So it's been a while since I've actually carved wood. I did carve this block entirely last night, and so that block entirely last night, and we've got you know, I kind of did the same dyeing process and everything, but you can see all the different cuts, and this is primarily done with the mini V-gouge, which was amazing for doing something this small. So if you're into those smaller pieces and small detailed work, man, this set is definitely for you. It's yeah, it's amazing. And so let's go on to the MDF and see how it performs there. So again, I'll start with the mini V, and MDF, so medium density fiberboard is what it is. It's basically wood chips glued together, or wood dust glued together and stuff. And so that's what this is. It's easy to work with. It's easy to work with though. And so MDF is a lot closer to linoleum than it is to wood, just to be honest. With the way that it's made and the way it performs, you get a very flat, smooth surface. It's great for painting and stuff. And so for wood carving though, and for printmaking, I've actually never carved an MDF board with the tool, and so I don't really have a good comparison here, but I know what it cuts like with woodworking tools, as far as like table saws and stuff like that. So I know that MDF does have a tendency to chip out, and so I'm wondering if we'll get any of that here with these other gouges. And so that, I mean, the mini V is just great. The large V, it's working phenomenally. I mean, you have so that was a little bit more difficult just because I was taking a huge chunk away, but I mean, I'm putting like maybe a pound of pressure here on these light cuts, and it's nothing. It really is. So really great sharp tool. Let's check out this U gouge here. Yeah, I mean, this is cutting away like butter, and it's great for you know, getting those smaller, large areas though that you're trying to get out, and then of course for the edge of the box. And so if you notice what just happened there, I'll try to move this a little bit closer. You see where it tore out on the edges, and that is from digging in so far that you have the edge. So you see the edge of the tool go in. That's poor form for printmaking, for print carving anyways. You never want the corners of your tool to go into the material that you're carving. And so that's where you get tear out, and that's really easy to happen with MDF. I know that just from machining the MDF with like saws and drills and stuff, and so you're more prone to tear out with MDF, and that's why I never really wanted to use it for a printmaking surface. But as far as carving, it carves like butter. Actually, that's now that I've carved this, it's a little bit easier to carve than linoleum. Just because it's dry, it doesn't have that gumminess to it that linoleum does. And so that you know, if you're into it, you're into it. That's cool. Now let's go on to my small print, and again, let's go ahead and start with this mini V gouge. So the mini V going into linoleum like butter. I mean, oh man, this changes my world. It really does. So like I've said, I've used Flexcut tools in the past. I've never had a mini V gouge of theirs though, and so just seeing the fine line that I can get and how easy it is, I'm very excited about this. You can go very fine but deep, and which is a problem with other gouges. You can't go very deep if you're trying to remain very fine. So if you have a typical V gouge, you know, going a very, very light pressure, you can get that fine line, but if you want to go deep, you're getting really wide. I mean, just look at this. And so, man, that cuts so smooth. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So there's that. Let's go with the U again. Just like about a pound of pressure. Man, it digs in really easy. That's actually quite impressive. And so one thing that I do like about this is the shape of the tool here. So that shape, the fact that it dips down almost like a spoon, it creates it makes you able to kind of get a good angle on things, and so you don't have to hold the tool at such such an extreme angle to the surface that you're carving, you can kind of stay raised up and above that surface, which is really important. And so even getting some finer, lighter lines with the U-gouge is pretty simple, and then going heavy is obviously pretty easy. And so there's that, and here is the wide U. And so honestly, the wide U is about what I would expect from any other printmaking tool. Wide U gouge. It's a lot of material that you're cutting away, and so it does it very easily. But the wider you get, the more resistance you're coming up against, and so you know, it performs very well. It being sharp makes a whole lot of difference, and so that's primarily what we're looking at here. And so, man, Flexcut has done a really good job of making a tool that is comfortable to use. The handle is ergonomic. It fits very well into my palm. I have no problem pushing against it. And the shape of it allows me to put it at the base of my hand rather than kind of in the middle. And I don't like having things in the middle. I like it at the base. That way I can put a finger on the actual tool itself here, and then push with it being more of an extension of my forearm rather than something that I'm holding in my hand and bending my wrist against. It saves your wrist, it saves your fingers. So definitely a well-designed tool. You know, overall, I am very impressed with Flexcut. I mean, it has that flex to the tool itself. So if you're bearing down on it, it does well. As far as printmaking goes, man, this is a good tool to have. I think that this tool set is something that I would recommend to any printmaker that out there that does woodcut or linoleum and is looking for an upgrade in the tools that they are using. If you're frustrated with the tools that you're using, having to sharpen them all the time, having to go to a grindstone and go through that whole process, and it takes hours, 'cause I've been there. And if you don't want to have to put up with that process anymore, this is a good option. Okay, now that you've seen that review, you get the chance to win your very own set. Flexcut Tools was nice enough to send me a set to review and a set to give away. So if you want your very own printmaking gouge set, there's a link below to enter a Gleam giveaway, which will allow you to enter a lot of different ways to improve your chances to win this set. Entries for the giveaway will be open until May 4th, so good luck. Also, feel free to subscribe to Rhinodillo Designs YouTube channel. We release a lot of art-related videos there, and be sure that you're following JustPrintmaking on Instagram.